accounts, millions of dollars per year, tens and tens and tens of thousands of testimonials. So here's the big picture. Even if none of the products are your favorite product in the world, if you're looking at it as the opportunity, that doesn't matter. You don't have to even like the product. Somebody has to like the product. We do, in my opinion, have some fantastic products. And on the product side of the business, our goal is through not just the products, but adding products and lifestyle, is to try and add more life to people's years. I think that there's many very bright doctors and MDs, and they're doing a pretty good job with all the technology and all the research and the stuff that they're doing at extending years to people's life. But to me, it doesn't seem like they're that interested in adding more life to those years. So the actual quality of life isn't that great. And so the way I look at it is, how exciting is that extra 20 or 30 years if you basically can't function daily activities? I'm not saying that people that are in that situation, they probably are glad to be alive, and I'm sure there's many things that bring joy to them, but it really isn't living if you can't kind of do the things that you want to do. And so Be Epic, one of the taglines that we say is, add more life to your years. But at the end of the day, my passion isn't just the product side. As human beings, there's millions or billions of different options for us to be consumers. And this is something that I try and tell people. You need to have something in your life that doesn't have a ceiling on your potential. You need to have something that you're doing that can possibly give you control of your time. Most of us give our time for way less money than we'd ever like to. And they don't really give any value to what is your time really worth. Because everybody's putting a price on it. To some people, it's that minimum wage, whatever it is, $7 and whatever cents, or I don't even know what minimum wage is. But they've talked about raising it to $15 or whatever it is. But people say, okay, I will do this job even if I don't love it for a certain wage. And we're just saying that that's fine, but at that same time, you should be doing something that gives you the ability to not have to do things in certain ways. Gives you the ability to actually have control of your time. So, I don't know, Scott, did you want me to go through? I see you have the presentation up here. Do you want me to go?
I just put it up there just to have the picture.
Okay.
Do whatever.
So what I'll do is I don't want to take too much time because I'm very good at just like going on for hours and hours. I'm not very good at cutting things down to like 30, 40 minutes. But what I'll do is I just want to give kind of a high level overview of the company. We started in 2016, November 11th. So anybody who likes the number game, 1111 is a good one. That's when we started. It's easy to remember. Our 6th anniversary will be 1111, so a few months from now. We do have offices and infrastructure all over the world. So all of our top products are registered in the EU. That's around 27, 28 countries. We also fulfill to the entire former Soviet Union, which is now called CIS. There's around 28 countries there. So that in and of itself is close to 60 countries. We also work with Canada, UK, Australia, New Zealand. We have offices in the Philippines, office in Malaysia, South Korea, Taiwan, United States, obviously. And then in Africa, we have multiple offices and warehouses in South Africa. We also have an office in Ghana and in Nigeria. We have stockists in surrounding countries, many surrounding countries to South Africa. We have offices and stockists in Bermuda, Bahamas, Trinidad and Tobago, which is, as Coach was saying, I just got back from there. Well, we went to Panama, Costa Rica, Trinidad, back to Panama, then to here. And then we have other meetings going on today and tomorrow in Costa Rica. So we have an office in Mexico, Guatemala, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Ecuador, Bolivia, Peru. So these are all things that when you look at it, these are all your offices. Because they're there for one reason. They're there to support the distributors. And all that infrastructure is there, it's your infrastructure. The customer service is your customer service. The shipping departments are your shipping departments. Everything that we do as a company is to supply the support for the distributors. And so like Coach was saying, we do have a wide variety or a massive market that we can market these products to. And most of them, not 100%, but we either have warehouses and offices there. Also, just as an example, some of the product approvals take more than a year. And it's not free either. So all of this stuff that we have is literally, I don't even know, for sure tens of millions of dollars that we've spent on all of these types of things. And the big thing that when I was 18 years old, sitting in a hotel meeting with probably maybe less people than here, and they were sitting there talking and drawing circles on the board and stuff like that. The thing that really hit me, and that I saw, and I don't know why I saw it or how I saw it, is I'm like, man, this is the ability to start your own business, but have somebody else control all of the infrastructure. So when you have a big business, all the massive expenses, all the infrastructure. Like I grew up in the furniture business, so my parents had 3 furniture stores. I also worked in insurance, had a couple of convenience stores. So in order to put that furniture store, most of them had several $100,000 worth of inventory that they had to pay all that money. We have millions and millions and millions of dollars wholesale. So not distributor cost, our actual cost from the manufacturer, we have millions of dollars sitting in our warehouses all over the world. And what does that cost the distributor? We have options to come in for free, or it's a one-time $19.95. So for $19.95, you have access to all of our programming, all the back end, all the back office, all that stuff is all ours. We own all that. If you talk to Exigo or one of those companies to buy their code, it's millions of dollars. I mean, they charge you $250,000 just to write the code, and then they charge you tens of thousands of dollars per month based on how many members you have to rent their code. And then if you ever buy it from them, it's millions. And so when you look at the opportunity here to really have something that literally has no limit, we don't limit the amount of income that you can earn. It's all based on what you can visualize, what you can see, what you think can happen. And we've had some pretty significant things happen. Our best year is 2020. I don't know why. It should have been a bad year, you would think. We did, I think, just around $107 million in 2020. But the thing that impressed me even more than that, we had 4 people that started, 2 of them late December of 2019. So they started just before, a couple weeks before 2020. And we had 4 people that started with less than 13 months. So if you less than a month before, so they started in December of 2019. They made over $1 million in 2020.
Hello.
And the one made $1,968,000 first year in the business. Our largest pack at the time was $89. We've had 2 people go from 0, starting the business, to $100,000 per month in 5 months. So not $100,000. Their 5th month was a $100,000 check. We've had one person do it in 4 months. So a lot of the things that I'm going to discuss and talk about, I'm really not going to talk about anything that hasn't happened. So I think that that's kind of important that people realize. I'm not talking about pie in the sky, maybe this could happen, maybe that could happen. These are all things that have already happened. People are already doing it. And I absolutely guarantee you, they don't have any skill set that's that different than anybody else here. It really is possible for everybody if you really kind of understand the basics and you make up your mind that you're going to do it. What I can assure you is I feel 100% confident I can show anybody how to create those types of incomes, and have done it. And I've done it myself as a distributor. I think that's important that some people realize. There's a lot of people, I've been in this industry since I was 18, we're looking 30 years. It's all I've done my entire adult life. I've helped launch 10 companies that I've funded. Again, as Scott was saying, I've never had an investor in any business I've ever done. It's all been self-funded. In the last 20 years, we've done over $6 billion in sales. We've paid out, even more exciting for me than doing $6 billion in sales, was we paid out almost $3.7 billion in commissions to people all over the world. So one of my favorite sayings is, I win or I learn. And I always tell people, I learned a lot of things that didn't work and became an expert at what doesn't work way faster than I actually figured out some things that do work. But one of the things that I've also learned is the best way to learn isn't through your own experience, because that's where you have the trial and error and all of that to come in. It's through other people's experience. And so we've really put together some systems and some concepts that are already proven, and we know they work, and they work pretty much for every single person. That's what I love about the industry. There is no application. There is no license that you have to go get, or it's kind of the good and the bad. It's good because it gives every single person the opportunity. It's bad because it gives every single person the opportunity. And so anything, a lot of people act like you don't have, not very many people make money in network marketing and this, and it's like, yeah, but some make a ton of money. But if you have no application, no qualification, no anything, meaning if you had to hire every single person who came to your business, are most of them going to succeed? Probably not. Especially if anybody could bring them in and they don't have to onboard them, they don't have to train them, they don't have to do any type of certification. Even things like real estate or insurance. These are things that the test is very difficult. There's a lot of studying that has to happen in order to do it, and still most people fail. And it's not free, it's a lot more expensive. And like health and life insurance, same thing. Most of them aren't that successful, but they still have all of the licensing, they have all of those things. So I've always told people that the only thing that is needed is right here, is that desire for change, something that you have within you, that you want to see something happen. I used to work a lot with a guy named Clark Bartram, super nice guy, was in the fitness industry, and I think still to this day has more covers than any other male fitness model, over 500 covers. That's a lot of covers. And at events he used to do some things. He used to work for, I don't remember the name of the group, but they go to, a lot of times they go to like prisons, and they'll like bend frying pans and crowbars and tear phone books in half, and then they have these speeches. And one of the things that they also do is they would take a hot water bottle and blow it up until it explodes. And we were at an event, and he did that, and he was talking in the speech he gave, and he said, I used to kind of think, what is this actually showing anybody? What does this actually matter, And I couldn't imagine doing it. I mean, he had us come up and like just blow up a balloon until it blew up. That wasn't very difficult. Those hot water bottles, they're thick and they're big, and to blow that thing up. And so he blew it up until it exploded. And he said, what I got from that is this is what it has to do with life. You're not going to change until that pressure on the inside becomes greater than that pressure on the outside. And it's just like this water bottle. No matter how hard I blow them out, no matter what I do, it's never going to explode until the pressure on the inside becomes greater than the pressure on the outside. And that's the same thing with us as human beings. And that's why I always think it's so important that as you're here listening to what I'm talking about, that you have some sort of purpose, some sort of thing that you want. Because if you don't have something in your mind that you want to change, it's probably not going to change. And I also wanted to let you know that whatever it is, I truly feel that it's possible here, because we already have people that do it. Our infrastructure is big enough, we can handle it. We're not going to run into, we still have mistakes, we still have problems, all the companies do. There's so many moving parts, especially when we're doing business in so many different countries, so many different languages, so many different cultures, all of those types of things, and crazy different things happening in the world with pandemics and wars in different countries, and all of these things that affect business. But the big thing that I think is important, a lot of times when you're at the meetings and they're talking about this company, I just want everybody know that the things we're talking about have already happened. So we started the company with one product, and the product was Elevate. Elevate, when I created that product, I was talking to the manufacturers. Again, I've been in the industry for quite a while, so I kind of already have an idea of what people are looking for, what works well. Being able to sample things and somebody take a product and they notice a difference within a matter of minutes. Whether it's good or bad doesn't necessarily matter. Unless it's all bad, then obviously it's not going to be good. But you're going to do better in this business if I sample it to 10 people and 7 people hate it and 3 people like it. And if I sample it to 10 people and all 10 of them are kind of like, I'm not sure. And so most of the time what works the best is impact products. And it's not necessarily needs to be a positive impact. I mean, if I had a product that I gave to 100 people and 99 said no every single time, but 1 said yes, I could show you all how to make $1 million your first year with those odds. And there's very few products that you sample out to 100 people that 99 say no and 1 says yes. But if that was the case, as long as it happened every time, and every time I gave out 100, 99 said no and 1 said yes, we'd have a business model that's so simple that anybody could make millions of dollars per month, not even per year, with those numbers. I always tell people that the only number that I can't work with, I can show you how to get to $1 million a year, and any number other than 0%. So the only thing that doesn't work is 0% sign up. 1% sign up just meaning if I talk to 100 people and 1 signs up and I duplicated that for a month, by the end of my first year, I'm at $100,000 per month. And so another thing that I like to explain to people is your perception about this industry is not the reality of this industry. Most people's perception is I have to be a good marketer, I have to be good at sales. And so how often do we hear, oh, I'm not the sales type, I'm not a salesperson, I'm not, well good, this isn't a sales business. This is a duplication business. Now, obviously, a sale takes place, but when you realize what we're selling, the ability to take control of your time, take control of your finances, your health, general public is already looking for that. So they're already kind of looking for what we have. We're not going to talk anybody into it. We're just going to offer information to people. They view the information, they make a decision. But so I guess there is some sales in the process, but you don't have to be good at sales. If you worked your entire month and you made 1 sale for, let's say, $50, nobody's going to say, oh, that person is the most amazing person. Yeah, he can do it. He sold 1 thing for $50 in a month. Nobody's going to say that that's amazing or there's anything exciting about that. But if you can duplicate it, that makes all the difference in the world. Even if it's that $50, that's still going to put you at about $35,000 to $40,000 a month at the end of your first year. So everything can be done if you really understand what it is. If you have no idea what it is, you don't have an understanding of what you're trying to do, then can anybody be surprised that you're not having the success? And it's all about having in your mind what needs to happen, kind of building out that roadmap. And I think that if there's anything that's a little bit different about me, it's not that I have any certain skill set that I'm so good at any one thing. It's my mind works in a way that I like to break things down to figure out exactly what I need to do. I was a really big ice hockey fan growing up, and I literally would be out in the backyard for seriously 6-7 hours a day, day after day after day, with my skates on, with the guards on in the summer, and we'd wax down plywood from the furniture store, and I'd just be hitting slap shots all day long against the side of the house. And then I didn't have the ability to, now I could just pull up YouTube and watch all these things and video everything and do all that. So I'd go and watch VHS and try and put it in slow motion, and the slow motion back then isn't nearly as good as it is now with everything. And then I'd go back and I'd do more and more and more and all of those things. And I realized that there's not anything that you just do in 1 second and become great at it. But everything that you do in this business, there's so little skill that's necessary that makes it so that somebody couldn't succeed. Like if I actually broke it down to what we do in this business, and I was going to pay somebody to do all of it, I can't think of any part of the job that I would pay more than minimum wage because it's such basic activities. Everything that we do is so basic that it's not like I'd pay people a bunch of money to do it for me. But there's these certain things that have to happen. And so I think the one thing that separated me, and maybe it's from sports and stuff like that, of just being in that grind mode of doing the same thing day in and day out, and just having faith that the results are going to come. Because you don't see, every single day it kind of just seems like the same thing's happening. But then other people start to say, no, you've improved a ton. And again, when we have a sport that before they had year-round ice, that is only have the ice in the winter, all summer long, you're just sitting there trying to recreate. You don't really know what's happening until you get back on the ice again and trying to, figure those things out. Then, by the time I was in I think 6th grade is when they actually got a, year-round ice where I grew up. And then it was, kind of a different story. I didn't have to spend as much time. So I still spent a lot because you couldn't just go during free skate and, hit pucks around. But anyways, I think when I first got started in network marketing, because of my mindset and because of how I worked, when I wasn't having success right away, I didn't quit. And I really think that's the only thing that was that much different from what I've done than other people, is I think that probably, I don't know what percent, close to 100% of the people would have quit having as little success for as long a period of time as I did. But instead of quitting, I just tried to really break everything down and figure out, okay, what do I absolutely need to do? Because when I first got started, I thought it was more sales. I thought, okay, I can sell to my friends, I'll sign them up in the business, and then I just signed up Scott, now I'm going to try and sign up Matt, and then I'm going to try and sign up Tanner, and that's kind of what I would do. I just go person, and then that's just, nobody said anything different. They're saying, oh, that's awesome, you signed up somebody, oh great, congratulations. But I wasn't making any big money. And so then I started to realize, no, this isn't a sales business. This is a duplication business, and it's a retention business. So I wrote down the formula of duplication, build a list, cultivate the list, present the business to the list. That's kind of the sales process. And then the duplication is once I bring somebody in, I teach them that process. And then retention, I tried to figure out every single reason that somebody would stay in the business. And I came up with 5 main reasons. 1, they like the product. 2, they're retailing. So they buy the product, they sell it. Now they need more inventory, so they buy more, they sell it. They buy more, they sell it. 3, they're not too concerned about the product, but they're making money in the business. So they're in profit. 4, there's auto ship. People get on an auto order every month and they just haven't canceled. So they're not retailing, they're not in love with the product, but they're still active. You don't want very many of those to stand for 4 because they're probably not going to stand for too much longer. And 5 is they've plugged into a culture that they feel like they're going to be successful. And in most cases, it's a combination. They like the product, they feel like they can have success here, and some combination of those 5 things. But really, when I figured these things out, it's kind of when that light bulb moment went off, and then it wasn't too terribly long before I started to make some decent money. And what changed, I also interviewed a bunch of people that were making 6 and 7 figures in the industry, and just kind of asked their story. I listened to as many stories and stuff as I possibly could, and I came up with a list, and I put the 5 traits of successful marketers. And so then when I signed somebody up in the business, and I sat down with them, I'd go through several different stories of people that had made money that I had personally met, and I went through the 5 traits of successful marketers, and then I went through the formula of duplication and tried to put together a game plan of how we were going to do it, and then talked a little bit about the things to keep people in the business. And having those discussions really changed their entire view of what they were getting into. It gave them a lot more confidence that they felt like, okay, I kind of have a game plan of what I'm doing, and everything changed. And then when they brought somebody in, I just kind of helped assist to go through those same things, the 5 traits of successful marketers, the formula of duplication, 5 reasons people stay in the business. And then we also put I got my degree in psychology, and I did a lot of studying on placebo and anti-placebo. And so what I would really talk to the people, and it's not just a product, it's life in general. It's having certain expectations. A lot of people have bought into The Secret and stuff like that, the law of attraction, and all of these things. These are all real things. What people dwell on and what they think about is start to attract things in their life. If you see people that just have the tendency to complain about everything, their life can't go good enough, because they're always going to find something to complain about. And if you just dwell on those things, then you're going to think that, it's not very good. If you only dwell on the good things, then you're going to think that things are good. And so those are the types of things that I realized in a business. So when we bring people in, we'd also start to try and get them to think a little bit different. Expect that you're going to find the right people. Expect that the products are going to do. Like, so many people take the products with zero expectation. Why are you even taking it? I mean, take the product with purpose. If you have any ache or pain or anything that you want, then find out a little bit of the research of what the products are designed to do, and expect that product to do that for you. So if you have a product like Regenerate, and you have a shoulder that's hurt or knees that hurt or something like that, every time you drink it, just kind of envision those ingredients going right to that place and taking care of the inflammation in your shoulder, or in your knee, or in your fingers or your hands. And what people will find is just a fact. Things are going to start to function better. Things are going to start to come better. When you talk to people, assume that you're going to be able to give them the information that they need, and most people are going to join it. And I didn't do this with a cocky attitude at all, but when I was building my list, I would always say, I'm going to bring this person into the business. It's just going to be a matter of time. And here's why. I'm going to stay in my company longer than they're going to stay in theirs. I'm going to be more consistent than they are, and I'm going to continue to follow up. And so eventually I'm going to find the right time for this person. They're not going to stay in their company as long as I'm going to stay in mine. They're not going to be as consistent as I'm going to be. And there's some people literally that took me 10 to 12 years before I signed them up from the first time that I met with them. There's a bunch of people that have never signed up, but I'd never say I will never sign them up. I always look at it, it's just a matter of finding the right time in their life to correspond with the opportunity that I'm providing. And so basically, those are all of the things that we've kind of put together with Be Epic. We started with Elevate. The concept of Elevate was just to kind of give people it's like if you were going to create a product, that the whole purpose of that product was to help people have the best day every single day. So they have the nutrition, they have the stuff going to their brain to be able to focus and think clear. They have the micronutrients, the vitamins and minerals going to their body. That's really what it's created to do. So the actual micronutrients are from actual fruits and vegetables. So the company we work with has a proprietary process that nobody else is doing. We don't have an exclusive, so other people can buy, but it is a super cool process where they can take the micronutrients, which are vitamins and minerals, leave out all the macros, so they leave out all the fibers and the sugars and the proteins and carbs and fats, all of that out, but it's actually from the fruits and vegetables. So if you look at most vitamins, almost 100% of vitamins that are sold are synthetic. Your one-a-days, your Centrums, your all of those, and doctors are 100% fine with that. Yet there's zero research that show that synthetic vitamins do anything. The body needs that whole food matrix mix. There's no isolates in nature, and a synthetic vitamin is actually a petroleum product, and there's nothing about it that should even be able to be called a vitamin. The chemistry of it is similar, but it's not even close to how it is in actual nature and how the body recognizes it. And so having your actual every single green pill that you take has the micronutrients of 4.5 servings of fruits and vegetables, that's pretty good in and of itself. And so that's kind of the base that we started with. And then there's some medicinal mushrooms that just have all kinds of research. Your chaga, your cordyceps, your ganoderma. And we use extracts that are either 50 to 1 or 500 to 1 that allow us to get an effective dose for an adult human being in a single capsule. So like if you're going to take a ganoderma pill, and it's like a 90 count bottle, that's typically just the kind of ground up, reishi mushroom that they're taking, and then those pills are usually 750 milligrams. So you might take 3 of those, which is like 2 grams, but if it's 500 to 1, you only need like 40 milligrams in order to get that same dose. And that's why we use extracts, just because most people don't want to take like 6 or 7 or 8 capsules per day. And then we wanted to say, okay, if we have these great medicinal mushrooms that have all this research, we have the 4.5 servings of fruits and vegetables, we also want something that people can feel, because we want to be able to sample this product to people, and then some people say, man, this is really good. And if it's just the vitamins and minerals and micronutrients, they're probably not going to feel that. It's not that it's not needed, they're just probably not going to notice an impact. And so when we're putting together a stimulant blend, we wanted to work with stimulants that have been in the market for at least a decade to multiple decades. That was important to us because there are some companies that have done very well, but they're using some stimulants that they know 100% are going to be gone in 2 to 3 years. And then they're going to have to find the replacement. And so this started back in the mid-90s with ephedra, then went to DMAA, then abcitrate, then DMHA, and then like 2 or 3 others since then. But every 2 or 3 years, it gets banned and they have to change the product. And then every time they do that, even if they find one that's just as good, it's not going to be as good to the field because it's different. Even if they find one that's better, it's never going to seem better to the majority of the people. So it always causes problems. So you have these companies that blow up and do really good for 2 or 3 years because it is a molecule that's almost identical to meth. It is a methamphetamine molecule. It's better than buying meth from somebody on the street because it's controlled. You're getting it's more like getting a pharmaceutical. But the pharmaceuticals aren't behind it because they're selling Adderall and they're selling all their legal versions of meth, and so they end up banning it every single time. And then they change the molecule just like a tiny bit, come up with a new name, and then launch a new product, and then it does well. And so that's basically, we didn't want to have that because we didn't want to all of a sudden have to change the entire formula. We also wanted a stimulant curve that had fast releasing, slower releasing, so that you kind of feel the energy kind of fast, but if you go all fast releasing, you feel it fast, but then it goes away. If you have stuff that takes too long, then, so we just wanted to do a real stimulant curve, and we wanted to focus more instead of pumping the adrenal. The adrenals are meant for energy, but they're not meant at all for sustained energy. And most of the time, if you can't control your adrenaline, you feel that adrenaline dump, and then you just feel tired. Like, I'm a big fan of things like the UFC, for instance, and I guarantee you, every 100% of those fighters are in phenomenal cardiovascular shape. But you'll watch some of them, and 45 seconds to a minute in the first round, they look like they're dead tired, and they are dead tired. The reason they are is because they have these 20,000 screaming fans in the audience, and all the bright lights and all this stuff, and they have all this adrenaline, all this anticipation of what's going to happen, and they don't control that adrenaline. So they get in, and all this adrenaline hits, and then it's all gone, and they're like, what in the world's going on? I go 15, 20 rounds a day in practice, but you can't make that same feeling of that. It's just like people notice when those lights are on, it's completely different than practice. And if they can't control that adrenaline, then they basically just feel completely drained. And that's what happens when people are always taking these stimulants that hit the adrenals. You get adrenal fatigue, and then you become kind of dependent on the stimulants. We wanted things that more fired up the brain and got that working more than just hit the adrenal. So we focused a lot more on nootropics. So we launched with that product 2016, did very well. 2017 we launched 2 more products, but we sold them together called Accelerate. And that was one for basically what we call Restore, and that's for gut health and microbiome and detox. And the reason that's important is so many people always kind of oversimplify how the body actually functions and how the body actually works. So you always hear like weight loss, just, calorie deficit, it's simple. Well, That's true if all your hormones are functioning correct and you're not super acidic and you don't have a bunch of the toxins. But you can be at a significant calorie deficit and still gain weight. People, personal trainers and people that have been in great shape their entire life, they might try and argue that, but it's a fact. I'm not saying that it's impossible for some people to lose weight, but there's some things that they really need to focus on in order to get the body not working so much against them and more working with them. And some of that can be alkalinity, some of that can be getting rid of toxins, some of it's hormonal, and you have to go through MDs and stuff like that because it's not stuff that we can do naturally, legally. And so, I mean, there's a lot of natural stuff that you can do, but sometimes for certain hormone replacement and stuff, you have to go to. And so there's other factors. And so, but the gut health and the microbiome, there's so much studies on that right now for depression, for anxiety, for everything that you can imagine. They've literally taken twin rats, and the reason that it's important that they're twin is the DNA is exactly the same. So, and they do it with rats. They've also done some human studies on this, not in the U.S., but different parts of the world. There are some actual human studies on this. So you have these two rats, and so they control the physical activity that they do. They control the diet. And they've taken microbiome from a overweight rat and put it in one of the twins. They put them on the exact same diet, the exact same exercise regimen, and the one that they changed out that microbiome gains weight. And then they've done the exact same thing, the opposite. They've taken the microbiome from a healthy, fit rat, put it into one that was fat, same diet, same exercise, and they lose weight. So there's so much study out there for microbiome. And then the last product we have, part of Accelerate, is a sleep product. But it's not what you would think. It's not something that's designed to put you to sleep. We do have a little bit in the US and in Europe. We don't have melatonin in the product because they don't, they sell melatonin over there, but they don't sell it in natural products. So it's not like 5 to 10 milligrams of melatonin, which like a melatonin supplement would be. It's 2 to 3 milligrams, and then there's a couple other things, but really it's designed to control cortisol levels, control the stress hormones, and the reason that we feel people aren't sleeping as well. They can't shut their brain off. They have all this anxiety over, relationships or whatever, their kids or their job or all of these things, and you're tired, but you can't go to sleep because you can't shut your brain down. And so it's really designed to help control the stress hormones, anxiety, and then also at that same time to give your body what it needs to repair and regenerate while you sleep. And so that's just as important. Like if we're going to build something, and we have the blueprint for this house right here, and we have all of the materials sitting in the lot next door, we have everything that we need, but you can't do one without the other. Meaning if all we have is the blueprint, we can't really build it. If all we have is the lumber and all of that, but we don't have any of the tools, then we really can't do it. The body is similar. The body can't just make things happen out of magic. The building blocks of the body are minerals. So without the proper minerals, the body can't go in and repair and regenerate and get rid of this inflammation and the acid and all of the things that have happened to us throughout the day. And so the sleep product is really more designed to give your body what it needs to repair and regenerate while you sleep than it is to put you to sleep. So I like to explain the difference there. And those three products, which we call our Epic Pack, is really kind of what put the company on the map. So 2018, we launched Great Kids, which is basically just Elevate without the stimulants. And they're we flavored it. The only reason we're actually going to change the name once we sell through and just go to Elevate Non-Stim, because it's just as good for adults as it is for kids. It's just basically Elevate without the stimulants. We flavored it more for kids with a stick pack straight to mouth. But anyways, and then we launched our top leaders in Russia were wanting to compete with another company that was doing well. They're a face serum, and so we launched a product called Rejuvenate. And so those 4 products, but really just the Elevate and the Accelerate is what we jumped up to $100 million with. And I basically said, there's no need for us to add another product to the company unless it's a proven billion-dollar product that has some new science to it. And literally, I just kind of talked to our entire team about that, and then we just kind of have like product after product after product. There were proven billion-dollar products with new technology that came. So we launched, the next one we launched, I believe, was Be Keto. Again, there's a company right here in Texas that's done billions of dollars of sales of a keto product, which is all based on some 4 salts, actually, BHB. Great product, really is, but not a good product at all for weight loss. And they sell it as a weight loss product, which I personally think is completely false advertising, because that is a product that will prohibit ketogenesis, which is actually the process of your body creating ketones from your own fat. And it's the same concept as like KRT therapy for men. If I do testosterone shots, my body is going to quit making testosterone because it has testosterone in the system. Our body is fairly smart. Meaning, if I'm in ketosis because I'm drinking a bunch of ketones, my body's going to slow down the ketogenesis process because it's going to think I'm already in ketosis. It's not going to be thinking that I just drank a bunch of ketones. It doesn't know the difference. Just like if I just do a shot of testosterone, my body's not thinking, oh wow, he just took a shot of testosterone, so I still need to keep producing testosterone. It's just saying there's testosterone. And so your body is just saying there's ketones. I don't need to go into ketogenesis, it's already there. Now the reason that I'd say it's a great product is ketones are a great energy source for the body. Much better than like carbohydrates, or basically the body turns everything into glycogen. Your sugars, it's very easy to turn into glycogen. It's already the sugar. Carbs, it turns into glycogen. Alcohol, it turns into glycogen. And it's using all of this for energy. Our own energy source, the body actually creates from fat, which it goes through ketogenesis and creates ketones. And that is kind of the preferred energy source of the body. The brain functions better, memory, focus, all of those things are better. So those are great products for people struggling with like Alzheimer's, BHP, fantastic. But just for straight weight loss, people lose weight in that company, of course they do. But it's through a lot of lifestyle changes and also the mind. If I'm marketing whatever as a weight loss product, I did all the research and the studies that you have the placebo, you have the anti-placebo. People are going to lose weight if they really think there's a lot of stuff to this. And so that's what it is. But this is a completely different concept and a completely different process. And it's also patented and has some great studies on it. And it actually is designed to put the body into ketogenesis. So you can still go into ketosis, but it's through your own body fat. You're not drinking a whole bunch of ketones. So it's a major difference. And because BHB is extensive and other companies are putting in as high as 12 grams of BHB in a serving, it also allows us to be a much better price point. I'm not saying because they're charging way too much for their product. It's a different product. It's not comparing apples to apples. They have 12 grams of something that's very expensive. We have 2 or 3 grams of that because we're not reliant on that. We're trying to create the ketones from your own body fat, not from just drinking them. So we launched that product and we've done well with that product. Regenerate, again, they have it's patented, and it also has actual studies on it showing that for inflammation, as an anti-inflammatory, it's 14 times more effective than ibuprofen or Advil. So if you took something that was like twice as good, that's pretty impressive. But you have something 14 times, and it's all documented, peer review articles, everything like that. It's not something that I'm saying. This is what the studies are saying. 14 times more effective for inflammation. 100% of diseases have an inflammatory response. And so I saw they're doing a bunch of studying right now, and it's like it's kind of like what came first, the chicken or the egg? What came first, the inflammation or the disease? Does disease cause inflammation, or does inflammation cause disease? They used to think that it was disease causes the inflammation. Now they're thinking that if you stay inflamed, it causes disease. So they're thinking that the inflammation is eventually leading to the disease. So being able to control inflammation, and in addition to the type of curcumin that we use in that is patented, we also have hyaluronic acid, we also have 2 different types of collagen. So it's really designed to be a great anti-aging product. Great for athletes, great for basically everybody. Hair, skin, and nails. So that's Regenerate. We saw, again, just a massive opportunity there with a patented product with actual studies on it, the same type of studies that pharmaceuticals do, same type of peer review articles. And so we launched that product. And then I launched the company in 2008. It's done well over $1 billion in sales in a detox tea called Yasso tea. So it actually came from Dr. Miller out of Jackson, Tennessee. And the manufacturer of that called me and said, hey, we've been doing some tests with adding this blue butterfly flower, and people are really seeing some good results in controlling blood sugar, and then also hair, skin, and nails. And women are spending a lot of money for things to help with hair, skin, and nails.
Yes,
And that's kind of this whole liquid collagen kick. And so I said, yeah, let's try it. We sampled it out to quite a few people. I liked that it's, you know, a bright blue color. Add some lemon to it, it turns purple. So for marketing, it's kind of cool. And we'd already done probably $2 billion in sales of the base formula all over the world. So I already know 100% for sure this is a product that sells. And so we brought that product out, which is our royal blue tea. And then cardio product, again, heart disease is the #1 killer, males and females all over the world. 1998, the Nobel Prize in Medicine went to these 3 scientists that discovered that 2 amino acids, which they used L-arginine and L-citrulline, again, this is 24 years technology, 24 years ago, created nitric oxide in the body. Nitric oxide, they proved, prevented and reversed heart disease. There was a book called No More Heart Disease written by a heart surgeon. As soon as he found out about this, he started prescribing the L-arginine, L-citrulline to every single patient that came in with blocked arteries and stuff like that, and never gave another heart surgery. People thought that he retired, went out of business, was no longer there, but he just started doing that and didn't do bad for business. But this is technology that's 24 years old. Here's what's ridiculous. 24 years old. Still the #1 killer, males and females worldwide. #1 killer. There's no reason for it. What we have is brand new technology that came out by maybe the brightest person in the world. We have a doctor that we work with that is in the Guinness Book of World Records as the youngest doctor ever. He graduated high school at 11. He graduated NYU at 13. NYU is not a simple college. And then he graduated medical school and became a medical doctor in the state of New York at the age of 17. And they saw some research and they saw some studies that nitric oxide was keeping the COVID from getting into causing all the damage in the lungs. That's when people are dying. And so they started testing it, and they wasn't seeing the results that they expected. So they started to do a little bit more research, and with L-arginine and L-citrulline to create nitric oxide, it's very oxygen dependent in the body. So you have to have high blood oxygen levels, which we probably all do, people that are all, you know, healthy. But the sicker you get, and especially if you have something attacking your lungs, blood oxygen goes way down. And the L-arginine and L-citrulline wasn't allowing the body to really create the nitric oxide that was needed. And so they found a different pathway using different nitrates that aren't oxygen dependent. So they already have the oxygen. And started doing some tests with that, and just had some great results. One of the people that we hired on our team was very good friends with these doctors, and then they talked to us to see if we'd be interested in you know, introducing this product. So still nitric oxide, but instead of 1998 technology, this is 2021 technology. We also have our product Immunocode. Probably the #1 selling immune product of all time has done over $6 billion in sales in just the one product is Transfer Factor. For Life used it. A guy named Dr. Hennon. William Hennon is the creator of Transfer Factor. I've known him for a long time. He created that in the mid-90s. $6 billion in sales. Has a brand new version that came out with some new technology back in 2021. Because obviously, one thing that COVID did is it got some of the brightest people in the world studying more about our immune system and trying to figure out what they can do. And Dr. Hennon saw some things that he could add to transfer factor, so with some newer technology, and same type of thing. Knew some of the people that was working for us, plus I knew them, and he asked if we would like to launch that product. So again, you have a product that's already done $6 billion in sales, and then you have from the actual creator, and I think that's important. We're not finding products that are doing well and then copying them. We're finding the people who created the product, and then they came to us to see if we were interested in doing it. And that, we probably have a couple other products that I missed, but that's the majority of our products. So I do feel that we have some products that the people are interested in, or they wouldn't have done billions of dollars in sales. All of those, the products that I mentioned, we are selling for less than the previous versions. So even though we're probably spending more money on them, we're bringing them to the marketplace for less. So we're literally trying to beat the competitors every single way that you can. Price point, pay them out more on the comp plan, everything that we can to give the distributors as big of an advantage as possible. Even doing things like our newer campaign, Get Paid to Lose Weight, where we literally pay up to $10 per pound lost. So that's not a profitable thing for the company. That doesn't make us extra money. We're literally taking our own money, our own profits, in addition to the entire compensation plan, and paying people not to sell weight loss products. We're paying people for the weight that they lose. And we're doing that to give our distributors one of the hottest things ever created in the weight loss market, which is a massive market, to go and market. Because come January 1st, when everybody has these New Year's resolutions of losing money, and anybody that wants to lose, not needs to, but wants to lose 30 pounds or more, it's crazy not to do it.
Yeah.
Because at the 30-pound level, it pays $6 per pound, so it's $180. If they just bought like the blue tea, for instance, or something like that, they're going to be about $150 into it after 3 months, and they get $180. And now they have a story. Because when you see somebody lose weight, and people always say, man, you look great, what are you doing? I guarantee you, nobody wants to hear, oh, nothing, just diet and exercise.
Right.
0 people want to hear that. They all want to hear some product, something. And even if it is a lot of the diet and exercise, if you if you want to lose weight, you're crazy not to monetize it. Because that journey, that transformation that you do has the ability to make you unlimited income. And so we have that going on. The first one we've done, company that I launched in 2012, we merged into the Epic recently. And so we launched this Get Paid to Lose Weight 10 years ago, and we've paid tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars for people actually losing weight. Herbalife used to do badges and everything, Get Paid to Lose. They didn't pay anybody to lose weight. They paid people to sell weight loss products. We actually paid people to lose weight. But the reason for that is because we know people are going to ask them, and we want them to be able to talk about, oh, have you heard of the Epic? They're actually paying people to lose weight. They have a complete program. They have the supplements. I've tried all these billion things, and it's just a great way that people can build a business. And the last thing I kind of want to go over quickly, just to end what I'm talking about, and if there's any questions or anything, I'll turn it back over to Coach to answer any questions. But one of the things that I like to do is just kind of explain what it would look like. And normally, I could go up to any amount that you want, but normally I would go up to like 100,000 a month. Any time period, it really is possible. But what we've had people do, we've had several people do it in 5 months. We've had one person do it in, well, not several, 2 people do it in 5 months, and one person do it in 4. So I'm going to talk about a 6-month plan. One of the things that we've put together here that is the base of our company is called a lifestyle bonus. And so you get started by getting 70 CV of any combination of products. It doesn't matter what you order. It doesn't have to be in one order. It just has to be somewhere throughout the month. So I order 70 CV in products throughout the month. Step number 1. Step number 2, I find 2 other people that do the same thing. And step number 3, I help those 2 find 2 people. That's a total of 6. We're gonna give you a $100 bonus every month in addition to your commissions. So that's gonna put people in profit. The first goal of any business should be to get in profit. So when I put a timeline to this, I always recommend that you try and find those 2 people in 2 weeks, help them find it in 2 weeks. The reason why is that's gonna get you that 2x2 bonus in your first month, meaning you're never out of pocket again. If you're never out of pocket again, the retention is gonna be much better. So it looks like this. My first 2 weeks I get 2 people. Their first 2 weeks they get 2, which is 4 more. That first 30 days is 6 people. Those 4 who just got started, their first 2 weeks they're gonna get 2 more, which is 8. Their first 2 weeks they're gonna get 2 more, which is 16. So my first 60 days is 30 people. I think Scott brought in 30 people his first day probably. but in 60 days, if you're at 30 people, you're still on pace for 100,000 a month in 6 months.
Hello.
If that continues on for 6 months, it ends up being just over 8,000 people. It's either 8,009, 8,090, 8,109, I don't remember. It's 8,000 people. Be 4,000 left, 4,000 right. This isn't counting any teamwork, this isn't counting any spillover, all the stuff that actually happens in reality. This is just, you're the only one in the company, you started from scratch, you got 2 people in 2 weeks and duplicated it. So that's what it takes to get to 100,000 a month. 4,000 left, 4,000 right. If I cut that in half, so now I have 2,000 left, 2,000 right. That's still about 50,000 a month, 600,000 a year. Still a pretty good income. I cut that in half again, 1,000 left, 1,000 right. Still about 300,000 a year. I cut that in half again. And again, what am I cutting in half? I'm cutting in half getting 2 people in 2 weeks and duplicating that. I'm not cutting it in half like crazy activity. And so I cut it in half again. So we were at 1.2 million, 600,000, 300,000. Now we're at 150. So 500 left, 500 right, 150,000 a year. Cut it in half again, 250, 250, 75,000 a year. Cut it in half again, 125, 125. It's about 37,000 a year. That's about the average full-time income in North America. And to get to the average full-time income in North America, how many times did I cut that in half? I even lost count. So we went from 4,000 to 2,000, that was 1. 2,000 to 1,000 is 2. 1,000 to 500 is 3. 500 to 250 is 4. 250 to 125 is 5. So we cut that in half 5 times. And you still got to the average full-time income in North America. The average full-time income in about 85% of the entire world is less than $700 a month. But the average full-time income in the United States it's probably more than 37,000 now. It's probably closer to 40-some thousand or 50,000. But for a long time, it's been right around there. So even if we just cut it in half 4 times, that's 75,000. And what did it take to get there? It took getting 2 people in 2 weeks and duplicating that and then cutting it in half 4 times. So what's crazy is just getting the 2 people in 2 weeks is not difficult. Even getting them to do it is not that difficult. So getting that group of 6 in a month is not that difficult. Then it kind of falls apart. And why does it fall apart? The reason I think it falls apart is because people don't really understand the business. They don't understand that this is all duplication and retention. And so when they bring the people in, they don't have the correct conversations with them about what the business is, what to expect from it, what the goals are, how to achieve it. And so a couple things that we're working on and improving. Our business is we had phone apps and more online tools 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. 2020, these people came and just blew it up, killed it with Facebook testimonial groups, ad tag message. And so then all of our other tools, everybody just kind of stopped using. And so when they stopped using them, we didn't keep updating them as we added all these other products and you know, things like that, because everybody's just using the Facebook groups. But now Facebook has changed how they handle their groups, just like they always are going to. The Facebook groups are still good, but they're not nearly as good because most people don't pay attention to the groups. They have to accept it all. It's completely different than what it was even 2 years ago on what Facebook does and how they manage the group. We have no control over what Facebook does. We prefer that they did it the way that they used to. but Facebook does what they want. They don't support this type of business model. It's not, I don't think they hate it necessarily, but they don't love it either. It doesn't have anything to do with their business model, or what their goals are. So we're putting quite a bit of effort and time right now into creating some newer things. I think all of them will be launching in September. We're going to try and launch as much of them as we can. We'll have definitely a lot of it done for people